This might be the coolest VR accessory in the world. This is the HIG VR M4 3.0. About 10 months ago I learnt about this company called HIG VR. And ever since then I've been eyeing up this M4 accessory. Recently, HIG VR contacted me to ask if I wanted to try out their new 3.0 version of the M4. Yes please. This thing looks and feels amazing. Let me show you. Full disclosure, HIG VR did send me this product for free, but they didn't tell me what content to make or what to say in it. So this is my honest review. I do have an affiliate link and a discount code. So if after my review you're interested, you can use that to get a 10% discount and I'll get a small commission. I'll add the link here and in the description. Alternatively, you can just use the discount code Dunning on the website at checkout. This code works for any of their other products as well, but can only be used once per customer. If you are thinking of buying one, please watch until the end of the review so you can hear all the good and the bad before making your decision. This thing's pretty cool. Let me show you. So at the back here, you've got the sling, obviously. You've got this nice buttstock with a little rubber non-slip bit at the back. Just like a normal M4, you've got this sort of trigger bit here that allows you to extend the buttstock or bring it back in. And actually, if you take it all the way off, this tube bit is where the battery is. So you can twist it, pull it. You can see in there, there's the connector. Just fasten there, so you can go and plug that in, or you can have multiple of these and swap them, but I think this lasts for like 20 hours or something, so probably no need to have multiple. Then you've got things going on this side, so this is called the forward assist or something like that. Doesn't do anything, just aesthetic, just to match what real M4 looks like. You've got the sight up the top that you can actually turn the dials on to move the little sight left and right and up and down to line it up. Got a dust covered door here. This doesn't open but looks very cool. But there is a button here that you can push to release the mag, which is pretty cool. Got the rails along that side. Here you can actually dismantle or screw off the silencer or suppressor. This one's made of metal. Everything else on here is made of plastic, like it looks like a nice sort of injection molded nylon or something. Apart from the mag is also metal, just like the silencer. Just spin around to the other side. You can see where the sling is attached here. You can attach the sling at the front as well. There's another one there. There's like a plastic one here and a metal one at the back. But I like to attach both of them to the back. Along here, you've got a little charging handle here, and it has a little lock on the side, so you can't pull it unless you release the little lock, just like a normal M4 I believe. And then along the top here you've got, this is where your controller would be connected, so we slide that back, and I believe wiggle this open, there we go. It's got little three rubber little dots in there that stop the controller sliding out. And then there's a little cutout there for where the grip button would go. So this is the setup for the Quest 3. Close that off, and you can sort of unscrew these two little bolts and move it up and down the rail if you want to. To be fair, this sight, even though it's just aesthetic, it does a quite good job of sort of protecting the front of the controller there from bashing it with your head or something. Here you've got the switch that switches on auto, semi, and safety, and then you've got the buttons here. So there's this little extra bit that's on the side. It sits right where your thumb is. Joystick, move your character around. A and B buttons, mag drop or whatever you've got set up there, and then a menu button. So then also in the controller here, this bit is grip sensitive, so when you close around here, a bit like the Valve Index knuckles controllers or something, it detects your fingers, particularly this sort of middle one here that's got a little bump, so you can use as the grip function on your right hand. Over here we've got another joystick, so you can move your character forward and backwards and strife and things like that. Click in, and then actually the housing around this is a touch sensor, so it acts as a grip button. So when you touch it, it grips to the front, your controller moves to the right place and grips to the front of the gun, so you can grip in game. But then I guess what you might be asking is, well, when you're in game and you're doing shooting, You want to let go and reload. Well, how does that work? Well, it comes with this glove you may have seen me wearing. So it's got some sensors on there that go into a little battery pack on the base. And then this little door flips open. You put your controller in there so that your headset can track where your hand is. So you can be in game, shooting, let go, grab your mag, put your mag in, set, off you go, which is pretty cool. So yeah, there's a couple of buttons on here. So if you hold down the first one, switches on. So green is the Steam VR mode, so then the recoil of the gun inside will match the recoil of the gun in the game that you're playing. If you hold down this second button, it changes to like a blue color. Now the recoil just matches the trigger press. That's pretty cool. And then if you hold down the button again, it goes into red, and now there's no recoil. So you can play in game without any recoil if you like. Hold it down, goes back to the original state, which is pretty cool. Yeah, just to show you, so you can see how the controller fits into the attachment on the top. And as I said, it sort of protects it using this bit so that your headset can see it. But stops getting anywhere near it. And then here you can see the controller for the hand. It's actually quite light. Can't really feel it on the back of there. Yeah. HIG VR M4 3.0. Yeah. So we'll give it a go. So it seems pretty easy to start. There's this app that you have running. It's got some icons here. It tells you if Steam VR is running. It tells you if the gun is connected. Tells you if the glove is connected. And then you specify what device you're running. And you specify what game you want to play. Arizona Sunshine, Pavlov VR, Contractors Showdown, Goes to Tabor, Hot Dogs, Horseshoes and Hand Grenades, Onward, Population 1, Zero Caliber and Other. So let's try some Pavlov. And then, so this one is on the back of my hand and this one is on the top of the gun. So that would be how I would be holding the gun, I guess. But once you click play, these two snap. So now really this controller is up here facing backwards and it's relocated it to where my hand is. And you can see when I let go, pull the trigger, and then same this one. And when I close my hand, it sort of understands where I am. Cool. Play. And actually, as soon as I touch the front of the gun, you'll see that the grip button depresses and it relocates. This thing is so much fun, but it wasn't without some issues when I was trying to set it up. When I first plugged it in, nothing was working. I then found out that the latest version of Steam VR had caused some problems, so rolling back to a previous version made it all start working. I believe the HIG VR developers are currently working on that to make it work for the latest version of Steam VR. But rolling back to a previous version was a quick and easy fix to get it working. I then experienced some tracking problems, but that turned out to be the USB ports that I was using to plug in the dongles for the gun and the glove. By switching them around to some different USB ports, everything seemed to work after that. Then there was a bit of a learning curve around calibrating the offhand glove. At first, I thought I wanted to calibrate a completely open hand to a completely closed hand. But then I realized in gameplay I never really opened my hand fully to let go of the gun and pick up the mag. So I actually ended up calibrating half the movement so that the game would see the grip button as completely released earlier, making it easier to let go of the gun and grab the mag. I also had to get used to not having A and B buttons on my left hand. It could be a cool idea to add A and B buttons, maybe a menu and a trigger, and the front of the gun near the joystick for the left hand. The buttons on the controller on the back of your hand still work, so you can use your right hand to reach over and push them if needed, but not something you can do in the heat of battle. It took me a minute to work out why I couldn't press the Steam menu button, and it turned out to be because it was registering my hand as being a little bit closed
hence the grip button was pushed. So every time you push the steam button, you're actually pushing the grip and the steam button, which takes a screenshot. Once I work this out, I could just keep my hand open wide when I click the button, no issue. I also noticed that the sling clip popped off of the gun a couple of times. On closer inspection, I realised that it's because the clip was a little bit loose and the twisting action would allow it to slip off. I have fed this back to the guys at HIG VR to improve in the future. In the meantime, I was able to squeeze the sides of the clip with a pair of pliers and the problem went away. These small issues aside, once I got everything working, I was really impressed with how it felt. The shooting position felt natural, the tracking worked well, and the glove allowed me to grab my mag and reload with ease. It felt really realistic. I'd pick this over shooting paper targets in a gun range any day.
I think the usage of the HIG VR M4 very much depends on the type of game that you want to play. So even within something like Pavlov, if you're playing team deathmatch or deathmatch, that would make sense. If you're playing S&D, I don't think it would work very well. I play a lot of S&D and I generally use these. So just these rubber grips. Holds onto your hands, so when you're throwing nades or throwing knives or flinging around, they don't fly off and you can let go when you want to rest a little bit. But generally, I've used a lot of different gun stocks, but my favourite method at the moment is just stacking the controllers. So what that means is I pick up the gun with my right hand, grab the front of the barrel with my left hand, and then I just put the controller in that meaty bit of my thumb there, and I hold the two together. It just gives me a bit of stability. I normally have virtual stock switched on. So what virtual stock does is, as opposed to just using 2 points for the vector of the gun, it uses 3 points because it guesses where your shoulder is as well. So once I do this, it doesn't really matter. I'm using my shoulder as well, so it sort of smooths it out. But yeah, so I'm generally shooting like this. The benefit of having these sort of light and separate means that if I want to put my gun away, grab a grenade, throw that, grab a flashbang, throw it, pull out a knife, stab someone, that makes sense. Also in S&D you change weapons, so there's a pistol round, so I can go into pistol round. You know, if I'm doing a save round with a deagle or with 2 knives, and then I kill someone and they drop a gun, I can pick up their gun, ready to use their gun. You know, if I want to do bolt action, I can do this. If it's a AK and you have to pull out the mag to put in, or you've got a mag drop, whatever it is, you can kind of do all of these. Also, critically, when you get to the bomb, being able to grab the bomb off your chest, type in the code, put it on, or if you're going to defuse or use the clippers or whatever, if you're playing something like that, then I don't think the HIG M4 is going to really work for that. However, it's really cool, it's really immersive. If you really want to get that mil sim feeling and you want to be in game for hours, you want to get the bipods and snipe someone, or you want to run around and feel like you're, you know, in the military or even practicing or something like that, then I think that's definitely really cool for that. But as I say, for things like S&D or something that requires other things, I think the whole game is made around the fact that you have hands as opposed to a gun, and the gun is virtual. But yeah.
Next, I wanted to try out some more intensive reloading to see how the glove held up, as well as a bit of target practice and recoil control to get used to how the gun felt. One thing that became clear quite quickly was that you can't reload while moving. The joystick for forward, back and strafing movement is on the left hand, which is now on the front of the gun. So as soon as you take your hand off to reload, you no longer have access to that joystick. So it seems the more run and gun arcadey style of gameplay is not really possible. I guess one option could be to try switching the mapping of the 2 joysticks around, so you end up using your right hand for that movement. But if you've played a lot of hours with the setup the other way around, that might be difficult to convert. But I guess for people who are going for this type of product and looking for realism, I suppose it's a bit more accurate to have to stop and reload before moving on. I found when playing TDM this wasn't a massive problem. I got used to it pretty quickly, and it just changed my style of gameplay a little bit. Another thing was holstering your weapon. In Pavlov you holster your weapon on your back. While this is a bit cumbersome, this is still possible with the HIG VR M4. You just have to lift the gun up to your right ear and release your middle finger to store or retrieve your gun. Obviously you need to watch out if you have low ceilings or light fitting. Similar to this, you can't really pick up guns off of the floor with your right hand. But what you can do is pick them up with the glove in the left hand, store them on your back, and then retrieve them with your right hand. Again, a little cumbersome, but does the job. Whilst the gun is not particularly heavy at 1.8 kilos, much lighter than the real M4, that's still quite a bit heavier than just the controller. So as you would expect, you find your arms get tired more quickly than just playing with controllers. Setting up the sling properly can definitely help, but I do have a newfound respect for the military running around with these things all day long. After a few hours of playing, and a lot of holding the gun with one hand while I reloaded with the other, I found that my right wrist was pretty achy the next day. Also, the gun's two-stage trigger travels quite a bit further and is a bit heavier to pull than the controller triggers. Lastly, I found the recoil quite loud, so while I mostly play at night while other people in the house are asleep, I found myself switching off the recoil function.
As I've said before, this thing's so cool. It looks amazing. It looks just like the real thing, I think. They've obviously spent a lot of time trying to make this accurate size, all the detail, little buttons and pieces. I think it really looks like it. And then to add on this sort of functionality with the joysticks and stuff, really subtly, I think it's amazing, amazing quality. You just want to play with it all the time, want to look at it. I really think I want to have it up in the wall on my office as well when I'm not using it. I would say you don't really realize this until you start playing, but how it looks kind of doesn't really matter as soon as you're in VR. How it feels definitely does, and this feels really realistic. But I really like the fact that they took the time to make it look amazing. So this thing's not cheap. I think it costs $499 US, and then if you want to include the glove, which I kind of think you need to, it costs $599 US, so $600 nearly for this. But to be honest, when you think about it, the quality of it is super high. There's a lot of gun stocks from various companies which is just bars and connectors, and they go for 150, 200 pounds. There's a lot of people out there buying treadmills and stuff like that go up at 1,500 pounds or whatever. So for PC VR, I think it's probably about a price that makes it. It's very expensive, very difficult to justify spending that unless you've got it available to you, but you can kind of see why they've landed on that price point given the quality of this thing. It's not just a bunch of sort of 3D printed parts screwed together. Like, this is high quality, with metal bits, and obviously some parts are 3D printed, like this piece up here and this piece here. But it kind of makes sense they're doing that so that they could make them for lots of different controllers, ship them out. I think at the moment they do Pico 4, the Knuckles controllers, and the Quest 3 controller, which is this one. But yeah, I think it's kind of justified given the quality. But yes.
So given all this information, there's nothing I've seen so far that would make me not recommend this product. As I keep saying, it's really cool and really high quality. If you're someone who likes the deathmatch or team deathmatch style of game, you're looking for ultimate immersion, and you've got some money to spare, this product is for you. If you're someone who prefers S&D style of game, and you're looking for competitive advantage, then this is probably not for you. If you are interested in buying one, then my link or my code will give you 10% discount. Of course, if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Let me know if there's anything you want to know about the HIG VR M4 3.0. And also, tell me what you think about it. Do you want one of these? Are you thinking of buying one? And if not, why not? I'd love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this review or you think the product's cool, give this video a like. Also, share the video with some friends who will think it's cool too. If you want to see more Pavlov gameplay, check out my other videos. I release videos daily, so subscribe to see more. Thanks for watching my video. Extra internet points for anyone who comments the call sign at the end of the video.
Alpha Mike Foxtrot, Lima Donkey Biscuit.